What this? Probably wondering what it is, are you? Yeah. Getting into biohacking. Partly down to like midlife crisis. Also, I am just a massive geek. And some of you might know who this geezer is. It's that guy who thinks he's aging backwards. He's a bit weird, but actually, some of what he does is legit. And vagus nerve stimulation is something I was like, all right, this sounds mental. But I did some research on this Pulsetto device, and there is genuinely some real benefits to it. So I'm going to tell you about it. So basically, you put this electrical gel on your skin, or actually on the device itself before you put it on, because it's going to send signals through your body. And it's connected to an app on your phone, which enables you to pick which program you want to work on. So there's things like pain management, stress management, anxiety management, trying to improve your sleep, or just generally help you recover from burnout. And look, the technology is unbelievable. And this is a pathway for a lot of people away from using the medication, which is addictive, isn't healthy, and long-term can do more bad than good. And with all the training I've been doing recently, I've been looking into how to improve my recovery, specifically in my sleep. And we've all had those nights sleep where you wake up, you're still knackered, and you actually just don't even feel recovered one bit. With Pulsetto, I could put it on. You only do a few minutes before bed. It's not like you have to wear it all day. And with it stimulating your vagus nerve, it helps you activate your parasympathetic nervous system. Sounds really complicated, but it's not. It's basically the part of your body that is responsible for helping you calm down, relax, and actually get the right quality of sleep that you're looking for. So for example, if you're someone who wakes up in the middle of the night at like 3 a.m., or when your alarm goes off in the morning, you don't even barely feel like you've slept properly, this is something that could really be worth looking at for you. And personally, I don't suffer from some of the other things it can help you with, like anxiety, like pain management, but I did try the anxiety one just to see how it made me feel, and I did notice a calmness. And look, there's a whole bunch of things that this device can help you with. I'm only just scratching the surface in this ad. Feel free, look at the reviews, look at the research. On Trustpilot, it's got a really good rating. And if you're someone who suffers with some of the issues I've mentioned and doesn't want to go down that medication route, this really could be a good option. And you can get 10% off when you use my code PAINGAME, all block capitals, all one word, PAINGAME, when you click the link in the description below. And there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can try it completely risk-free. So a big thanks to Pulsetto for helping us look after ourselves, but for now, enjoy the video. Welcome back to the Pain Game. We have a lot to talk about today in the world of MMA, because UFC fighters, they're just dumb and crazy and a little bit gay, apparently. This is Ilia Topuria in a club. You see him holding Ferran Torres, the Spain international footballer, and he's just getting very handsy. It shouldn't be that funny, should it? Do you know what I mean? But I guess it's a UFC fighter, everyone calling him gay. And the behavior is overly friendly. Like holding your hands like that over another man as he holds on. I mean, that is fucking gay. Men hug all the time, and I'm all about, you know, the bros. Yeah, we're mates. I like that. This is just weird. Just to quickly rewind it here, right? So we're slow-moing. This is the weirdest thing ever. It looks like Ferran Torres had his hand on his face almost, like caressing him a little bit. I'm not making that up. That's genuinely what it looked like there. And just to make matters even more, like, overly friendly, he then kind of puts his hand on his chest a little bit, and you can see just at the bottom of his back, Ilia Topuria's hand is around the waist of Ferran Torres. I mean, what is this? Dirty dancing? Are you gonna do a lift? Why are you doing that to another man? Maybe I'm reading too much into this. I don't know. I'm not used to this. This is not how people in Newcastle do it, but they're Spanish, aren't they? These Mediterranean lads, they're a bit flamboyant. As Torres turns around, Ilia's hand goes over the shoulder. That's fine. At this point, there's nothing to worry about. But then Torres starts holding hands with him, both hands. It's absolutely... It's weird. I've never seen a bloke do that in a club before. I don't know what kind of club this was. And you see a close-up there of all of the hand-holding and whatnot. It didn't go any further. Obviously, they're on stage. Maybe they're wary of the cameras, as they should have been. And there's a lot of speculation that maybe Ilia Topuria is gay. And I guess Ilia's response to this would be, like, he was married before. Like, what are you talking about? And she was a good-looking woman. However, she was crazy. And she was an absolute nightmare with him. They got a divorce. She basically went to the cops and accused him of domestic violence. He said, "You're extorting me. I've got proof of you extorting me." There was a custody battle. It was a disaster. And you know how sometimes, like, women, when they've had their heart broken and the man's put them through shit, they just all of a sudden become lesbians? Maybe this is that. And if it is, I say, you do you. Do you know what I mean? We're not prejudiced on this channel. Own it. And do you know what? I kind of see the sense in what he's doing there, because she obviously took him for every penny he had. Ferran Torres is a loaded. He's a footballer. You're going to be financially safe in that relationship. This might be a smart business move on him. You know, maybe they're just good friends. But I had to address this because a lot of people have been sending me this clip. Now moving on to Dana White, because this is not a good look. UFC's Nascimento, 34, dies after an apparent heart attack. The Brazilian flyweight was found unresponsive on Monday morning after suffering an apparent heart attack in his sleep, and despite best efforts of the medical team, he was pronounced dead at the scene. Obviously, RIP. This is a tragic loss at such a young age. And Dana White acknowledged the loss of his employee on his Instagram story, posting the UFC tribute here. But that's not all he posted, and I'm sure you're probably aware now. He then posted this story. Him smoking a cigar, saying, "What a great day he was having." Oh, God. Bad that, innit? What the fuck do you say about that? That's mental, That's his employee, obviously. Read the Room doesn't really sum this up. It's so tone deaf. It's brutal. And apparently he was celebrating the signature of an MMA fighter that he'd poached from another organization. And yeah, like, good for you, but maybe just give it few days, you know? And even the UK papers are getting onto him. The UFC boss Dana White slammed for tone-deaf post just hours after the shock death of one of his fighters. And all I can think about is Nascimento's family. You know, at a time where you've suffered such a tragic loss, one of the things that they will be thinking of is how proud they are of who he was, of how far he went. Obviously, to become a UFC fighter is not easy. And then for the boss of the company to say what a great day it was after that, it's brutal. And that would have upset them. There's just no way it couldn't have. And there's this thing about how Dana White doesn't care about the UFC anymore. There's a lot of talk about that, and that he's not really bothered. This sort of shit doesn't help that theory at all. And I think he should just apologize. Like, I know in his mind, he'll think, well, I didn't mean that. I'm not going to apologize. Maybe that's how Dana will think about this. But like, you have to apologize for this, because this is not like people getting offended for no reason. This isn't woke shit. This is really serious. Your employee died. He should apologize. Speaking of people who should apologize, Anthony Smith's son. Fuck me. He's been arrested on domestic violence causing serious bodily injury charges, false imprisonment, terroristic threats. What, you planning another 9/11? Like, what the fuck were you saying? And of all people, Anthony Smith, like, it's weird to say this because these guys are cage fighters, but he always came across as a bit of a sweet dude.
Prosecutors allege Smith tried to get his wife into a car while threatening to kill her.
Had to push her into the car by force to get her there. She did ultimately exit the car at one point. He threatened to kill her again if she did not get in the car.
Back at their Gretna home, Smith allegedly reversed the car, trying to hit his wife, then accelerated when she was in front of the vehicle. Prosecutors say witnesses helped her and their children out of the home after Smith went inside.
Witnesses heard gunshots coming from the home, but he had made the statement that he would kill himself if law enforcement came inside.
A Sarpy County judge set Smith's bond at $500,000, ordering no contact with his wife.
This is horrendous. Now, the wife has actually come out in support of him, saying what a good man he is, and that this was a mental health struggle made into something that it wasn't. I'm safe, and I always was safe. He would never hurt me. I called for help to protect him from himself. The problem with that is there's witnesses who say they seen him trying to run her over. And I get why at this point she's not going to want this guy to do 10 to 30 years in jail, or what, I think that's roughly what he's facing apparently. But if they testify, he might be fucked here. And look, I do believe that what she's saying, and that this is a mental health breakdown, and like, because this seems very out of character. But equally, you can't just fucking go around behaving like that and like, we just give you a slap on the wrist, because if he's capable of this, it could be worse next time. And that's the fear here. And we've seen Dustin Poirier recently, after he retired, losing his fucking mind, right? And now this, you know, it's the same shit in my opinion. It's basically CTE, and the inability to get that aggression out of you every fucking day, because you are a fucking caveman, you are a fighter, and that energy's got to go somewhere. And if it's unreleased, there's usually a massive explosion that usually involves drugs and alcohol. And this is where, like, the UFC do need to take a stronger hand in helping the fighters after their career ends, especially ones who've been, like, legends in the game. Maybe not what Anthony Smith has achieved. He's not the greatest fighter ever, but he's done a lot of fights for them. He's given a lot. But again, if this man was driving his car in the direction of his wife, threatening to kill her, how can you fucking defend that? And I seen Brendan Schaub got really emotional about this because he's buddies with him.
Because I was just with a happy, loving family in the DR a few months ago, And I was like, God dang, I love Anthony Smith. Oh my God, what a dad. What a husband. What a father. Look at these kids. I judge everyone based off the way their kids love and treat them. Anthony Smith was that. That's why this is hard for me. It's so tragic. A whole family is fucked. But sure, podcasters, TikTokers, get your fucking views. Make fun of the guy. Make fun of his career. Call him a punching bag. Go ahead. Go ahead. There's 4 kids that are fucked.
I think that's real as fuck from Brendan. Brendan, like everyone online, gets a bit of stick, but I think he's a good dude. And that's the bigger picture that he's talking about, that he's seen with his own eyes. This is a family that's ruined now. A family that when he was with them, were a loving family who respected their dad and loved their dad, and now it's a mess. And even if he caused it himself, you can still objectively say from the sidelines, this is a fucking shame. But something that's becoming too common in the world of MMA, where fighters just lose their shit once they hang the gloves up. Let's move on to the Makhachev versus Gary fight, which is coming up in the next couple of weeks. I'm really looking forward to this. I think, obviously, Makhachev is one of the greatest of all time at this point, in my opinion. And this is where we're going to find out really how good is Ian Gary, because we've seen a lot of potential, a lot of promise, a lot of talk, but he just hasn't quite fulfilled it yet. And this is a real opportunity for him to prove everyone wrong. Now, unfortunately, in the build-up to this, he has been proving a lot of people right in the way that they've talked about him in the past. He sometimes just forgets who the fuck the UFC audience is.
Should look at his wife and know that that's the person I need to listen to. Like, if the world was run by women, we'd all live in a better world. Like, it would all be simpler and easier. That's the fact of the matter, whether you want to agree with it or not, or you think whatever it is. If women ruled the world and we just listened to them and let them take over, it would be an easier world.
Yeah. Wait, what? Can I just shock you? Not one of my mates has ever said that in a conversation to me. And when I first seen this and the guys were laughing, I thought that they were laughing like, oh, it's a good joke. No, they actually backed him on it. And I'm really trying to figure out like how we ended up here. Because the first bit's fine.
Should look at his wife and know that that's the person I need to listen to.
I get it. Yeah, men should listen to their wives. That was fine. Just leave it there. Quit while you're ahead. Sure, some men are going to think you're a bit, but that's fine. You can get away with that. And I think he just seen like a nod of approval and went, I'm going for it. I'm fucking going all the way. Let women take over the world.
Like, if the world was run by women, we'd all live in a better world.
Oh no. What's made him think that? That's what I keep wondering. And look, there's a lot been made of his relationship, and I don't want to go there because I think that there's a level of, you don't talk about a man's woman. But I guess because he's with a woman who is older than him, right, which is widely known, and she's probably way smarter than him, let's be honest. He's now gone, women are just so fucking smart. It's like, no, your woman is smarter than you. Let's just calm the fuck down, Ian. Get a bit carried away, lad. The female vote's causing us enough problems at the minute as it is. We don't want them in charge, right? Let's relax. And people are posting like this thing that he did for his missus, and like I kind of think now that he should just lean the fuck into this for some reason. Like, people already hate him, and I don't necessarily hate him, but people hate him. And like, MMA is such a macho sport that if he became like the biggest feminist in the UFC, it would make people really want to see him lose, that's what the part of the game is. You either have people who really want to see you win, or they really want to see you lose. Either way, they're paying the money. And right now, I think we're too far gone, aside from people in Ireland or whatever, to people get like behind this guy in the way that it could have been if he was actually the second coming of Conor McGregor, which was what they originally were calling him. He should just go full feminist. That's the game plan right now. I'm talking pink shorts, the lot. Go the whole fucking way. Fuck it. Now, as it happens, that wasn't the only bit of the interview that caused some issues for Ian Gary.
I was smacked and hit as a kid. It was part of my upbringing too. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure a lot of the older people in England and Ireland, it was a part of their lifestyle too. Whippings and things at school were still a thing. So it's not like it hasn't happened to me. It has happened to me. If I can change anything in my life, I definitely don't want. I'm 28 years of age. I still remember the wooden spoon being smacked across my hands.
Now, after describing the alleged abuse that he received as a child, a family member, who apparently is his brother, left some comments on the video. And I mean, this is mad. You're not a victim. You act like we were beaten as kids, laughing face. We grew up in a middle-class house and had everything we wanted. Yeah, this isn't Eminem. Come on, you're not on 8 Mile. Relax. I don't even know if this is true. You're the type of guy to take money off his parents and never pay them back. Oh, I think the word is entitled. We had everything a child could need. You got paid to go to college and your mother was stressed. You got flown all over the world with boxing, yet you talk about them not supporting you. Dad personally got involved in your boxing the whole time, even when he was sick and in chronic pain. Do me a favor and explain that one, Ian. This is mad. This is making Ian Garry look terrible. Let's be honest. Now, the brother basically goes on to say that they attended every one of his fights, but now his wife's the one who's getting the credit for always supporting him. And he basically says that Ian Garry is not able to own up to his own actions and what he did. Missing his granddad's funeral is another allegation. Was that really the man thing to do? Not even a text. He's laying into his brother. And look, this is a bad look for Ian Garry, but equally, there's two sides to every story, and maybe he will address this at some point, but it doesn't sound good. One thing that's an even worse look for Ian Garry is this.
Every fighter wants to be the best. For me, it starts with what I put in my body. Before I was plant-based, I was strong. But now, I'm on another level.
He's basically promoting not eating animals. I'm really now wondering what else he can say to piss off UFC fans. Maybe come out in support of like banning alcohol. Maybe that's his next move. Literally, this might be genius. But if he's unintentionally just coming up with this stuff and doing this stuff, and getting the level of hate he is, then wow, that's really something. Imagine he wins against Makhachev as well, after all of this. But while we're on MMA fighters saying some weird shit, Sean Strickland, who else, has come out and said that video games are making the kids more violent. You really never can predict Sean Strickland, can you?
I don't want to be the guy like video games caused it, but when video games intertwined with the military, it created a very different breed of people, right? So like you're older than me, so you probably seen it, but you didn't experience it. Like video games intertwined with the military, and you had like Call of Duty, where like all day long you're fucking a little kid and you're just fucking shooting people. Grand Theft Auto, and everyone's like, oh, like you can't blame video games. Like, how do you think it is when little kids now are spending fucking 5 hours of their day shooting people in the fucking head, playing Grand Theft Auto, beating up hookers? Like, there's been like a psyop to slowly fuck people up and desensitize people.
A disappointing take, in my opinion, from Strickland, who does sometimes come out with some clever shit, sometimes some crazy shit. Blaming video games for, people doing stuff in reality, which is ironic coming from an MMA fighter, because nothing made me want to punch fuck out of people more than watching UFC. I could play Grand Theft Auto for hours. I could watch a UFC fight. The UFC fight would get me more into fighting, without a doubt. But do you know why neither of those things ever made me actually do anything crazy? Because of my upbringing. You see, good parenting is really, for me, the difference maker. It's not the video games. It's not the movies. Yes, we watch things get blown up on the screen. Like, anyone with a brain knows that's not reality. That's not what you then go out and do. Do you know what I mean? I just don't think it translates at all. Like, I can drive a race car on a game and 200 fucking mile an hour. I don't then do it in real life. I don't need to. That's what games are for, because we know it's not real and you can take all the risks and have all the fun and then go back to having dinner. I just didn't think him of all people would go for the video games, when realistically they do a lot more good than bad. Like, there's a lot of people who are very depressed who find peace and a meaning in playing games all day, which actually prevents them from shooting themselves. Sorry to get real, but it's fucking legit. In other news, Jake Paul has gone into business with the PFL, and he is now full steam ahead in his MMA promotion under the banner of MVP.
Focus has always been to at least provide 50% of revenue to athletes, right? So when we look at the traditional ball and stick sports that achieve those types of revenue share metrics for the athletes, all of those entities have created massive amounts of enterprise value. So Jake and I's belief from day one, the first day I met him in 2019, I walked into his house. I actually didn't know who he was prior to the meeting being set up.
You didn't know who he was?
I did not.
Oh, really?
I did not. And
lived under a rock.
and he said, I want to be a fighter, I want to be an actor, I want to be a rapper, I want to be a content creator, I want to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's a lot of things. He goes, but most importantly, I want to start a fighters union.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure fighters get paid well.
Yeah.
We're the talent, we're the IP, we deserve fair share.
I think this is a smart move from Jake. The UFC right now, yes, it's the juggernaut. You're never going to overtake it, the likelihood is, in this lifetime, but there's really room for a challenger brand, especially when you're willing to pay the fighters what they're actually worth, which has been a consistent criticism for decades now of the UFC. And I have to give credit to him and Nikisa. You know, I think that they've shown they were underestimated when they started this journey with him in boxing, and what they were willing to build and what they were capable of, and what they've done with women's boxing now with their last MMA event on Netflix. If they can get Netflix to back a series of MMA shows and really go big, I'm here Enrico Verhoeven versus Francis Ngannou, a main event fight, that would be a good fight to kick things off. As a fan of MMA, I'm all for this. And finally, Brock Lesnar, the former UFC heavyweight champion of the world, has retired this last weekend from everything, essentially. He's dipped into, NFL, MMA, WWE, and apparently this is it. This is the end of the line for the 49-year-old. And I mean, my God, how the fuck yes, I know what he's doing, but like to look like that, even whatever he's taken at his age, is a fucking joke. And a lot of you might not have seen Brock Lesnar when he was in the UFC, but I have to tell you, it was one of the most exciting times to be an MMA fan. It was like we had our own Mike Tyson. He was such a fucking gorilla. It was like the most unstoppable force that we'd seen up to that point in MMA, because they didn't have 265-pound athletes who could move like that. It was insane. And one thing we'll never, ever, ever see again is a UFC fighter in his first, I think it was like 4 or 5 fights, win the heavyweight title of the world. That will never happen again. Obviously, MMA has developed a lot since then, and that was an era where if you were unbelievable at one attribute, like wrestling, like he was, it was going to be a nightmare to stop you. And in terms of star power and athletic ability, I think Brock Lesnar is right up there in UFC history. Like Conor McGregor, #1 UFC star of all time, that's not up for debate. #2, Brock Lesnar. Obviously, the WWE thing helped him a lot with his star power, but he crossed over in ways that fighters just don't. Everyone knew who the fuck Brock Lesnar was, even now. And look, there's been controversy. We remember him getting wrapped up in that Vince McMahon thing, but you have to say, what a fucking career he's had in the WWE and the UFC. That is never going to be matched again. But that's all I've got to say for today. Let me know what you thought about everything we covered in this video in the comments below. Big love to all the Pain Game fans, and I'll see you on the next one.